Close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, all laziness, all doubt, all inward destruction, all seeds of Satan, all Satan that's been sown throughout the week, through television, through media, through radio waves, through radio frequency, vibrational frequencies, through all of the wiles and the rules and apparitions that are in one's mind and one's consciousness. It doesn't allow one to come to balance within oneself, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your money, whether it's your own self, or whether it's your own past. For today is the day of freedom. Today is the day of warning. Today is the day that Yahuwah has given to us as a return, as a gift to us for a day for we to cease or Shabbat from our labors, from our hatred, from our envy, our strife, our complaining, our pride, our arrogance, our fornication, our adultery, and all the things that one has done in their life. Not just for this day, but for the rest of your life. Not only this day, but even from the day yesterday before you even started this day. For we live in this world, we are not of it. He said, whom have I in Shamayim but you, Yahuwah Elohim, and your Ben Yahusha at his right hand, who sits above the highest Shamayim, above the Shabai Shamayim, above the seven heavens, in the 13th Shamayim, above all, who governs all gods and rulers and princesses throughout all of the Rakia and all the cosmos and all the firmament, even down to the surface of the earth, down to the center of the earth. The one who gives life and understanding to all creatures, both male and female, within their thoughts and their mind, within their cranial nerves, within your hands and your feet, which govern your body, which govern your thoughts, where you go, what you do with your hands, and what you see, and what you hear, and what you taste, and what you smell, and what you understand within your own self. For we live in this world, we are not of it. And the love and compassion that Yahuwah has given to us through his Ben, Yahushua Mashiach, it goes beyond anything that anyone can ever do. For what greater love than this, when a man laid down his life for his friend? Right? How many people will die for their friend? But Yahushua said, I died for you, even when you were a sinner, I died for you. So as we move forward in kindness, ahab, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, and munah. But we will in no wise within ourselves and for others clearly guilty. Whether it be male and female, mother and father, sister and brother, it doesn't matter who you are on the earth. Prince and ruler, mayor, teacher, it doesn't matter. Leader of a country, it doesn't matter. Down to the lowest child, even before the infant even comes into the world. For we live in this world and we are not of it. So this is the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, Shalakim, recognitions of Clement, chapter 16, both good and righteous. Hence, since so many erratic religions have been introduced into the world, we have been sent as good merchants, bringing unto you the worship of the true Yahuwah, handed down from the fathers and preserved as a seed of which we scatter these words among you. So just like we go all the way back to the beginning to Adam, preserved from the fathers, from Adam all the way up until today, 2024 AD. Adam came into the world, Yahuwah imputed in him a speaking ruach and neshama, and he hardened his heart to one thing. And yet he was cast out, and death was imputed to all men because of the Nakash deceiving a rib, a DNA sequence that's attached to him, and brought sin and diseases on his body and his mind and his thoughts. And therefore, anything that comes from him is now corrupted. But he says, since so many radical religions have been introduced into the world, why? Because every single time a person is born, something else comes into the world that should not be here because of one person. And it says, and preserved as a seed which we scatter among you, and place it in your choice to choose what seems to be right. For if you receive those things which we bring, you will not only be able to yourselves to escape the incursions of demons, so you yourself. He said, I don't like shadim, I don't like demons. I say, okay, then guess what? You got to choose and you got to receive what's being said. He says what? He says what? But also to drive them away from others, right? So and once you stop getting demons coming in your life, then you'll be able to understand how to get demons out of other people's life. And guess what happens? And at the same time, you will obtain reward of ageless good things. That means you won't age. When it says ageless, that means your time sequence, the way you operate in time, will be the same as everybody else. Why do you think Adam lived 930 years? Why do you think Noah lived 960 years? Why do you think they lived that long? People saying, well, how do you know they lived? How long do you think Kuah lived? How long do you think Eve lived? Most people think Eve lived The same as Adam. He did. She did. Because they died the same day. Because he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, she shall be called Isha. When Adam died, she died. But it says right here, but those who will refuse to receive those things that are spoken by us will be subject to, in this present life, to diverse demons and disorders of sicknesses. That's in the body. That's all types of diseases. Right? You can go through a list of the CDC, you'll see so many diseases in the world. Those are all shadim. They say demons, yeah, they get in your body and they take over your body and take over your mind. And guess what? Now you incur many sicknesses in your body. Not because of Yahuwah, it's because of your own behavior, right? Because you don't receive what's being said. And these spirits, after their departure from the body, will be tormented forever. And if you have them in your body, you will be tormented forever. And if you obey them, you'll be tormented forever. Right? And it says right here, for Yahuwah is not only good, but also just. For if he were always good and never just, to render to everyone according to his deeds, goodness would be found to be injustice. For if it were injustice, if the disobedient and obedient were treated by him alike, he treats an obedient person and a disobedient person differently. Now, if you have an obedient person, he treats them differently from a disobedient person. He said, why? Because that's the whole point. He said, if I did everything to everybody the same, then guess what? He won't be just like in the world. They try to get you to say you can't say something about one thing. Oh, it's male and female. It's not male, male, female, female. Guess what? If you say something opposite of that, and guess what? If you just agree with it, then guess what? You're not just. You got a disobedient and obedient. Then you're not like your father. He said, Yahuwah is just. A person, hey, that person did that. That person is a thief. That person's a murderer. That person is a child molester. That person is an extortioner. That person is a robber. That person is a swindler. You wouldn't be just if you didn't say what it was, right? So we look at all that. So many erratic religions in the world. And we look at all that. So, all right. So this is the book of, So this is the, this is the book of 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. Let's say 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 13. 1 Corinthians 14, 13. It says, therefore, one who speaks in a tongue should pray that he may interpret. We're talking about different language, Lashon, right? So when you have different Lashons in the world, if you go speaking Moroccan and then you go to another country, you take Moroccan, you speak it in Spanish, nobody will understand what you're saying. Just like if you go from Moroccan and nobody understands English, you go to the English language and you start speaking Spanish, the majority of the people ain't gonna understand what you're saying. It says, for if I pray in a tongue, my ruach prays, but my mind is unfruitful. Why? Because you don't understand what you're saying. I say you have an unfruitful mind. And it says, what am I to do? I will pray with my ruach, but I will pray with my mind also. Why? Because your mind is very powerful. Your makashaba, your thoughts. If your thoughts are not ordered, your mind is not ordered, then you will be unfruitful in your mind. And it says right here, I will sing praises with my ruach, but I will sing with my mind also. So people say I can repeat a song that somebody sings. I can repeat a song, words that somebody says, but guess what? If I don't understand what they're saying, if I don't understand what is being actually said, and if it's a song of a fool, then guess what? You'll become a fool. You'll become stupid too, because you don't understand it. And then your mind will be unfruitful. Otherwise, if you give thanks with your ruach, how can anyone in the position of an outsider say amen to your thanksgiving when he does not know what you are saying. He said, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand nothing you're saying. It's difficult. Why? Because I don't understand your language, your lashon, your explanation, your thoughts, how you thinking. What does that mean? I don't get it. It's hard to be understood, right? So this is the book of. This is the book of Hebrews. Hebrews 13, 12. Hebrews 13:12. Hebrews 13:12. So Yahusha also suffered outside the gate. So you're gonna be outside. He said outside. He said, how are they gonna understand what you're saying if you ain't speaking a language that they understand? If you ain't saying something that people understand. It says right here, so Yahusha also suffered outside the gate in order to sanctify the people through his own blood, through his own dam, his own blood. Therefore, let us go out to him outside the camp and bear the reproach he endured. He's like, bear the reproach. Why? Because a whole bunch of people, how you say, are sinning. Guess what? He bore the reproach of all that people. And guess what happens? For here we have no lasting city. But we seek the city that is to come, the one from the highest Shemayim, as a bride adorned for her husband, right? It says, through him, let us continually offer the sacrifice of praise to Yahuwah, that is the fruit of the lips that acknowledge his name. He said, I acknowledge his name. He said, let us offer the sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of your lips. When Sarah was in the house in the song of God, what did he say? Song of Elohim, what did she do? He said, there was peace in the house. Shalom. He said, let us offer the sacrifice of praise, the fruit of your lips. How are you going to offer a sacrifice? That's the fruit of your lips. Continually. All right, so this is the book of Ezekiel. This is the book of Ezekiel. The book of Ezekiel. The book of Yekaziel. Ezekiel. The book of Yekaziel 45 and 9. Ezekiel 45 and 9. Ezekiel 45 and 9. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim, enough, O princes of Yasharal. For he said, a king gonna reign in righteousness, and princes gonna be like they hiding place in the wind, a nasi. And it says, put away violence and oppression. He said, let us offer the sacrifice of praise, which is continually, right? So you gotta do it continually. And you can't do it with what? Violence and oppression, kamat, unjust gain. You can't do it with violence. Violence, even murder. He said oppression, and execute justice and righteousness. He says, cease your evictions of my people, declares Yahuwah Elohim. He said, cease your eviction. You ever been evicted before? I mean, you kicked out. That's how you get. You say you get kicked out. Evictions, right? It's not a good feeling to get evicted. Why? Because you can't pay. You got no money to pay, right? And it says, you shall have just balances. Let us offer the sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of our lips continually. But the only way you're going to do that, you got to be just in your balances, in your scales, in how you weigh things and how you judge within yourself and for other people. And it says, a just ephah as your just grain, your just offerings. It got to be all just, and a just bob, which means you got to clean your body. You got to clean your inward man, you got to clean your outward man. Your filthiness on the inside and your filthiness on the outside. That means all of the things that's on the inside of your body. Hatred, jealousy, envy, complaining, pride, murmuring, complaining, arrogance, tapuka mouth, forward mouth, fornication, adultery, anger, resentment, bitterness, wrath, rivalries, conceitedness. All these are a part of what? The wickedness that's within oneself. They got to watch. And on the outside, all the blemishes and all the things that's inside of you, to the best of your ability. He said, I ain't gonna do nothing. Then guess what? then you ain't gonna have no pure offering toward Yahuwah. Because guess what the offering gotta be? It gotta be just. And it says, the ephah and the bath shall be of the same measure. The bath containing 1/10 of an omer, and the ephah 1/10 of an omer. And the omer shall be the standard measure. He said, you know how you have a car that says standard? This car is standard. They have a car that says this is standard. Then you get the upgrades. He said, but first you got to get the standard first before you get the upgrades. People say, I want the Ruach, and then I want the gifts of the Ruach, and all these other different things that come with having a perfect offering. But then he said, you haven't even got the standard right. The standard. Right? So this is the book of So this is the book of Exodus, Shemuth, Exodus. Shemuth, Exodus 30 and 33. Exodus 30, Shemuth, Exodus 30 and 33. Shemuth, Exodus 30 and 33. And it says, whoever compounds any like it, or whoso puts any of it on an outsider, shall be cut off from his people. Right? So we're going up to verse 30, 34. You shall anoint Aharon and his sons, right, and consecrate them, that they may serve me as Kohanim, right? And ye shall say to the people of Yasharal, this shall be my Kudash anointing oil throughout your generations. And it shall not be poured on the body of the ordinary person, right? And he said, any old person. Why do you think when the woman poured the alabaster box on Yahushua Mashiach, she couldn't pour that oil on just anybody? How come she didn't pour it on Judas? How come she didn't pour it on Euchanan? How come she didn't pour it on Matthew? She couldn't just pour it on any ordinary person. He said, all that immersion, Yahushua, have been put him on. You've been immersed into his body. There's only one body, one amun, one immersion. There's only one. And it says right here, it says, and you shall say to the people of Yasharal, this shall be the Kudash anointing oil throughout your generations. It shall not be poured on the body of any ordinary person. And you shall not make no other like it in this composition. He said you shouldn't even do anything opposite of this. It is Kudash, and it shall be Kudash to you. Whoever compounds any like it, or whoever puts it, any of it, on an outsider, shall be cut off from his people. Why do you think he said Yahushua suffered outside the camp? And when did the woman pour the oil on him? Outside the camp. And he bore the reproach outside the camp. He said, why would you pour it on the outsider? Exactly. That's why she poured it on. And people say, man, Yahushua be getting all y'all, all the priests and all the kind, all the Louis and Levi, they be thinking, and guess what? Yahushua be condemning everybody. And they be thinking they condemning him. You're not. And it says right here, Yahuwah said to Mashah, take sweet spices, steki and onka and galanum, and sweet spices with pure frankincense of each shall there be an equal part, and make incense blended as by perfumer seasoned with salt. Why are he making all these? He said, let us offer up the sacrifice of praise with the fruit of our lips, right? Continually, as a sweet smelling savor, right? But he said all these things gotta be on it, and then it says seasoned with salt. So he said, what is salt? The salt is for purification. You ever went to the Dead Sea or the Utah? Seasoned salt, and you lay in that salt burn your skin. All them lesions and everything that you got on your body, all the things that aren't supposed to be on there, guess what it do? It burn your skin off. It'll burn you. It'll show you what's on your body. It'll show you that, hey, you ain't as clean as you thought. Your wounds ain't closed up. You still got a lot of cuts and wounds on your body. It'll let you know. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it all over your body. You ever got some salt scrub from Dead Sea? People don't even scrub. He said, scrub your body with salt, and you'll see where all your stuff at, all your impurities at, and you'll feel it. He said, why? Because this is a part of your offering. He said, it got to be seasoned with salt. Pure and Kudash. He said, why it got to be like that? It got to be pure and Kudash. That's the only way it's going to be pure and Kudash. He said, I gotta have just ephah, I gotta have a pure offering made by fire. Matter of fact, they gotta do this continually. We mean you gotta stay clean outwardly and inwardly continually. And it says, guess what? And you shall beat some of it very small and put part of it before the testimony in the tent meeting where I shall meet with you. Why do you think they beat Yahushua over Reed? Why do you think they met with him? Why do you think they punched him in the face? Why do you think they smacked him in the head? It was for you. Why? So you can have a pure offering. And guess what it says? And it shall be kudash for you. And in the incense that you shall make according to its composition. You gotta do this. People saying, no, the person, the individual, you have to do it. And it says, and you shall make, and you shall not make for yourself. You shall not make for yourselves, right? It shall be for you kadash to the Yahuwah. Whoever makes any like it to use as perfume shall be cut off from the people of Yahshua. So this ain't some kind of, you know how they do Dolce & Gabbana product. You know, they make these things and they make it for commercial use. To sell. So he can make some profit. He's like, hold up, this ain't that type of instance. This ain't that type of stuff. Y'all want to make merchandise of what I said, you can go right ahead. But just understand, Yahuwah ain't accepting nothing you doing. $16.99. Right? $16.99, right? But here we go. Or $9.99. $13.99. Right, so this is the book of Leviticus, Yakar, or Levi, book of Levi, Leviticus. Right? The priesthood that only just got reminded, of the sacrifices that were given to Sheth or Shem all the way back when Noah got off the boat, when he gave all the priesthood to his son. Let's see what they do. Yakar 2:11. No grain offering that you bring to Yahuwah shall be made with leaven. So we talk about this, the kamats. We talk about all this. We talk about all these things. It shall not be made with leaven. Right? That's sin. For you shall burn no leaven, nor any honey as a food offering to Yahuwah. You say burn it. He says right here, as an offering of, it says to Yahuwah, as an offering of first fruit, you may bring them to Yahuwah, but they shall not be offered on the altar for a pleasing aroma. What happens? You shall season all your grain offering with salt. Melak. Melakah, right? Melak. He said season with salt. See, why you gotta season with salt? So it can be something to Yahuwah. And it says, ye shall not let the salt of the covenant with your Elohim be missing from your grain offering. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. Why? Because it's for purification. Preservation. I say preserve your body. Preservation. If you offer a grain offering of the first fruit of Yahuwah, ye shall offer the grain offering of the first fruit, fresh ears roasted with fire, crushed new grain. Why do you think he would bruise for our iniquity and he would crush for our iniquity? He was the new grain offering. The chastisement that brought on him brought us shalom. Because it was an offering. He was a perfect offering. Why do you think they beat him down? Yahushua Mashiach. And it says, and ye shall put oil on it, and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. He was saying, what type of seeds are Yahuwah sown inside of you? Frankincense, olive oil, pure oil, right? And guess what it says? And the priest shall burn as it a memorial portion, some of the crushed grain and some of the oil with all this frankincense. It is a food offering to Yahuwah. So all these things you got to do continually. He said you got to be just too. You got to have a just bath. You got to wash your body continually. Right? You got to do it continually. All right, so this is the book of Matthew 5. Matthew 5, 45. Matthew 5, 45. Matthew 5, 43. Matthew 5, 43. Matthew 5, 43. You have heard it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. You know how it is today. Love your neighbor, Yasharah only, and hate your enemy. You know how it is today. Hate your enemy. But get what he said. But I say to you, love your enemies. Say what? Pray for those who persecute you. Why? Because you gotta have a perfect offering every single. You gotta have an offer of a sacrifice of praise to Yahuwah continually, and it gotta be seasoned with salt. You gotta have all types of precious oil and frankincense and myrrh. It gotta be perfect and without blemish, seasoned with salt. It gotta be just ephah, just bob, just balances. That's why. Pray for those who persecute you, because if you ain't doing what the Torah said, you are the persecutor. Against you become the persecutor, and you're persecuting those who do, who follow Yahushua Mashiach, who keep his commandments. Get what it says? So that you may be the sons of your Father, who is Shamayim. You may be the priest, the Kahanim, the Kahan. How you say the mother priesthood that he take from the earth? How you say? Because you know why? Just like the book of Psalms say, he prepared a Ahal, a tent for the sun. And the only way the sun gonna dwell inside of your tent, you gotta have be just ephah, just balances, and just everything inside of you. Just ephah, just balances inside of your mind. And it says, so that you and just Bob, right? But he said the Bob don't come. He said, how do Bob come? It says, so that you may be the sons of your Father who is in Shamayim. For he makes his son, here we go. Whose son? Whose son is that? Nah, it's the son, it's the Egyptian son. Nah, it's the Arab son. Nah, it's the one that Saudi Arabia that's gonna make it come out of the sky when they want it to. No, it's the one that the Japanese gonna make, that son that coming out, they're gonna make their own artificial son. You talking about that son? No, that's their son. That ain't Yahuwah's son. You say, who makes his son to rise on the evil and the good? That son that been rising before they made their son? He said, I make my son rise on the evil and the good. Matter of fact, that son that was been on the fourth day, they rose on the evil and the good. But guess what? The one on the first day, they say that son came amongst the evil and the good. And guess what it says? And sins rain on the just and the unjust. So he's like, man, I send rain on the just and the unjust. I allow the sun to come on the wicked too. And he said, you got to do the same thing. I allow the sun to rise on the evil, the unjust and the unjust. I allow that rain to come down on the grateful and the ungrateful, the just and the unjust. And guess what you got to do? The same thing. That's why you pray for your enemies. But if you don't understand why he made the sun and why he sent rain, then you ain't going to understand it. But here we go. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? So if Yahuwah loved only those who love him, then guess what? He would have been at the end of the world by now. He would have already ended the world. This world would have been over. Look how many people ain't got no just balance, just ephah, and just bob. Look how many people ain't offering up nothing to him. Think about that. If he did that right now, how many people would survive? He said, will you be surviving? People saying, how would you know? He says, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers and sisters and mothers, you know how they say that? What more are you doing than others? Yahuwah doing a lot more than what y'all doing. He's been doing it from the beginning before you even born. Even the trees know about it. They were here before you. All the water in the sea, they know about it. They were here before you. The fishes in the sea, they were here before you even born in what? 1950, 1920, 1985, 1981, 2000, 2022. Those who going to understand from 2015, even right now. He said, Yahuwah was here before you was even born. He said, I've been doing this before you even came into the world. In this generation of people, the last 100 years. And get what he says. And he says, the tax collectors do the same. And if you greet only your brothers and sisters, what are you doing more than others? Do not the Goyim do the same? They say they do the same thing you do. Everybody do that. Shake their hand. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Have a great day. You too. Everybody do that. It says, you therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father, Abba, and Shamayim is perfect. That's why you got to do an offer of a sacrifice of praise continually. That means you got to do this continually. Which means the only way your sacrifice of praise is going to be accepted continually. Is the only way it's going to be done continually. It got to be seasoned with salt, with just ephah, just bar, and just balances. It got to be perfumed correctly, and you can't even make it for other people. You can't put it on any ordinary person. So he's saying people want to pour this oil on themselves. You're an ordinary individual. You're still doing the same thing you used to do before. So he's like, no, you can't pour that on yourself. You can't do that. You got to clean yourself off. All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Actually, 2 Corinthians chapter 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. It says, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. He said unequal. It means how many you got? It's only me and about 50. Me and 1,000. He's like, that's about right. Because one could put 1,000 in the flight. He's like, hey, that's about right. He said, do not be unequal with unbelievers. For what partnership have righteousness with lawlessness? Just like any partnership in the world. Say some partnerships can cause destruction in your life. Some partnerships can cause depreciation in your life. Some partnerships can cause you to lose wealth. Some partnerships can cause you to lose your sanity. Some partnerships can allow you to, not move forward. Some partnerships can do these things. He said, what partnership, what has righteousness with lawlessness? He said, you sign up another bill and you sign another contract to get another bill to do what? To pay for something else? That contract could be a snare for you. You just made a partnership with these people, with the person. He said a partnership to buy something else, and then guess what? It ain't completely paid for it, and guess what happens? Now you made a partnership with that, and now it's going to become a snare for you. He said, what partnership? It says, what fellowship has light with darkness? What fellowship has light, aleph, wu, arash, light? He say, strength joined to the mind with darkness, kashak. It didn't even have it in the beginning on the first day of creation. And Yahuwah said, let there be light, and there was light. And it was even on the morning, the first day. Without light was there, it wasn't even day. Darkness had to leave. What accord has Mashiach with Baal? It ain't the only gods out here. Baal, Aster, Dagon, teachings out, some Jaza, Azbaal, Amarah, Archons, Asmodi. What fellowship have you with Asmodi, Asmodei, Asmodeus, Belial, Baal, Listeras? What fellowship you have with them? And get what he said. Or what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever? He's like, what portion? He said, that's why he said, you can't pour this on anybody. Are you crazy? He said, why would you pour that on everybody? He said, what? What agreement has the temple of Yahuwah with idols? Know you not that your body is the temple of Yahuwah? He said, what you got idols in there for? We talk about that in Yakaziel, Ezekiel 16 so many times. Son of Adam, these people have set up idols in their heart, in their mind. What? First cast the log out your own eye. Then you'll see clearly, because your light done came back on, your lamp now can burning, and now you can see clearly, and now you can cast the little speck out of your brother's eye, because you was walking in darkness. For what fellowship have light with darkness? You supposed to be light, but yet you got darkness on the inside. Why are you fellowshipping with it? I'm a fellowship with anger, resentment, bitterness, hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, murder in myself. I love it. I want to fellowship with it every single day. And it says, oh, what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever? What agreement has the temple of Yahuwah with idols? Those are idols. For we are the temple of the living Elohim. And Elohim said, as Elohim said, Yahuwah said, I will make my dwelling among them and walk among them. In Leviticus, they say in the book of Levi 26. And I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Therefore, go out from the midst of and be separate from them, says Yahuwah. He say, if it's causing you to be this type of person, if it's causing your sacrifice not to be accepted, if it's causing your fruit of the lips to not offer continually, if it's making your incense stink, if you're not seasoning yourself with salt continually, then guess what happens? You need to separate from that, whether it's within yourself or from other people. Says Yahuwah, and touch no unclean thing. Why would you touch it? He said, why would you touch all the unclean things? Right? Everybody don't eat the flesh of animals. But when you go to Leviticus 11, it tell you what not to touch. It tell you what make you unclean. Anything dead of itself. That's anything dead of itself, whether human, animal, or insect or. He says, so what are you touching? Well, here we go. Then I will welcome you. He said, then I will welcome you. Then guess what? Your offering will be accepted. Offer up the sacrifice of praise, which continually. I'll do it. And I will be a father to you. I'll be a father. If you never had a father, in your life, a faithful father. I ain't talking about just a father. A faithful father. And guess what he said? I will be faithful to you as a father. If you never had a faithful mother, guess what? I will be faithful to you as a faithful mother. If you do all these things, guess what? And you shall be my sons and daughters to me. You're gonna be just like family to me. He said, I will bring you into my house, and you're gonna be just like family to me. And guess what happens? Says Yahuwah Almighty, since we have these promises, so you said, well, we know all these things, right? And he said, oh, since you have them, you have a promise. Yahuwah has made a promise, right? It's a two-edged sword. It's not a jagged edge. He got a promise. Most people don't know about that. But he said, I have made a promise to you, right? It's a two-edged sword. It's sharper than any two-edged sword. And I made a promise to you. And guess what? Beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from every defilement of body. That's why you need salt. That's why you need a bow. That's why you need a river. When the man we talked about last week, when he had to wash himself in the Yarden 7 times, and he went away angry and wrathful, guess what? Those are things he got to put away. In order for him to even do what he needed to do to get healed and his skin turned back when he was a child, he had to put that anger and that wrath away when he heard he had to jump in the Yarden River. A little murky water river. And guess what happened? He leaned to his own understanding. He brought up 2 other rivers that he could jump into, leaning to his own understanding. That's what we do. After you hear this, he said, no, I don't need to do that. Is there any other thing I can do besides do that? Exactly. And that's exactly why people, you say, you ain't healed yet. He said, it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else but you. He said, that's why you're not healed yet. And it says, let us cleanse ourselves from all defilement of the body and ruach. That's your natural man, your outer man, and your inward man. He said that's the individual person. So if a person got to go to Amazon and get as much salt as they got to, a person got to get some salt scrubs, get some soap, get the black soap, get you some soap, some baobab soap mixed with some shea butter, cleans your body, go on the river, jump in the river, jump in there about 7 times, a lot of water to rush down your body. And your outward man, your inward man, you got to put away all the defilement, your anger and your wrath, and you got to go through your inward man and you see all the things that's been sown inside of you. That's you. It says, bringing Kudash to completion. What was all the offering? He said they're going to be Kudash. The oil going to be Kudash. The frankincense and myrrh gonna be kudash. The flour, the grain offering gonna be kudash. Everything's gonna be kudash. Your just balances, just ephod, just ba, everything gonna be kudash. That's the only way it's gonna be kudash. That's what kudash is. He said, bring kudash to completion in the fear of Yahuwah. Why? Because he said, in the fear of Yahuwah, completion. Because you gotta complete this. He said, you have to complete this, right? So this is the book of. This is the book of. This is the book. This is the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms. This is the book of Psalms. Book of Psalms 51:5. Psalms 51:5. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. That's everybody in here. How you say? That's everybody in the life and here in the sound of your voice, right? You say everybody was brought into sin. You were brought in. You were conceived in it from Adam. It says, behold, you delight in truth in the inner being. You delight in truth in the inner being, and you teach me wisdom in the secret heart, in the center of your secret heart and mind. It's a secret place. It says what? And you teach me wisdom in the secret heart. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. He's like, wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness, and let the bones that you have broken rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities. How are you going to do that? Right, so this is first Ezra, or second Ezra, or second Azarah, chapter 8. Second Azarah, chapter 8. Second Azarah, chapter 8. Second Azarah, chapter 8, verse 39. Second Azarah, chapter 8, verse 39. But I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, and I will remember also the pilgrimage and the salvation and the reward and that they shall have, like as I have spoken now. So shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground and planteth many trees, right? So people saying, how many trees you need to plant? He said, you a farmer, you a husbandman? He said, you need to sow a lot of seed, and you need to plant a lot of trees. Right? In order to be a farmer, a real husbandman, you gotta have a lot of trees. And it says, and yet the thing that is sown yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up. That's a frustrating thing. He's like, the fruits, it's the summer fruit season. He said everything I sown is supposed to be coming up right now. Matter of fact, it's supposed to be coming up, and guess what happens? Neither does all that is planted take root. Even so it is with them that are sown into the world. They shall not all be saved. He's like, man, I sowed all this seed. I done put all this out here. He's like, I done put all these trees out here. He's like, hold up. How come there ain't no fruit coming? How come ain't no food and nothing coming? It must be something they ain't doing. Because that's the only reason they ain't going to be saved. Because it's something they not doing. Like they say, if you want something you never had, you got to do something you never done. And a lot of things that people want, he said, you got to do something you ain't never did before. In verse 42 says, and I answered, and she says, and I answered then and said, if I have found kindness in your sight, let me speak. like as the husbandman's seed perishes, if it cometh not up, and receive not the rain in due season. Because he got to come up from the earth to get the rain. He said, hey, I got to get out. I got to come out of the soil. And getting out the rain in due season, or if there come too much rain and corrupt it, because a seed got to get up out of the ground. And it says, even so perisheth man also. He's like, man will perish too. He's like, man, ain't no rain. He said, man perishes also, which is formed with thy hands, and is called thine own image. You know, Adam. Thine own image and likeness. That's what he's supposed to be. Let us make man in his own image and likeness. Amazing, he planted trees in the second algebra. He planted trees and planted a vineyard with all types of seeds. And he talks about the image and likeness of Yahuwah and the image and likeness of Adam. And he's like, man, everybody's not going to be saved. Because they can't even perceive this. It's a car knuckle ball. You can't even perceive it, right? It says, call thine own image, because thou art like unto him. He said, so you got to be just like your father. In Shamayim, your father just said, we just read, he talked about how he said, what good is you? You greet those who are ungrateful and grateful. I saw the sun rise on the just and the unjust, the rain on the just and the unjust. You're supposed to be just like me. Oh, you're not perfect even as your father in Shamayim is perfect. And guess what it says? Even so, man also. And it says, guess what it says? For whose sake thou hast made all things, and likened him unto the husbandman's seeds. Be not wroth with us, but spare thy people. He's supposed to be just like the seed he sowed. He's like, I sown frankincense, I sown myrrh, I sown grain, fine flour. I want fine flour from that grain. I sown pomegranates. I sown hyssop. I sown mint, anise, cumin. I sown these things. Apple tree. So apple trees get planted. I want apple tree come up in fruit season. And then guess what happens? Yahuwah gets upset. Just like any other human being will get upset. You plant some black nebula carrots and you keep planting the seed, but for some reason the seed won't come up out of the ground. And it says right here, be not wroth, but spare thy people. Because you know what's going to happen if nothing come up. He's going to tear the soil up, rip the soil out, and start over. She was like, why would he do that? Because that's what a farmer do. If you ever farmed before, you plant something and nothing come up, you just rip the whole plant out. You're like, man, this junk ain't even working. This junk ain't even yielding no seed. The fruit overripe. The vine ain't working properly. I got to take these big old fruits off. Because they allowing choking the other fruit, sucking all the energy out. I got to throw these off. I got to take this off. I got to remove these plants because they choking the other plants from growing. That's what happens because you're a farmer. That's what farmers understand. And guess what happens? And I have mercy. And guess what he says? Be not wroth with thy people, and have mercy upon thine own inheritance, for thou art merciful unto thy creature. Then he answered me, said, these things present are for the present, and things to come for such as to come. For thou comest far short, that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than. Says verse 47 says, for thou comest far short, that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I. But I have oftentimes drawn nigh unto thee and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. It says, in this thou art marvelous before the Most High, in that thou hast humbled thyself as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much kabod among the righteous. Right. Right. So this is so this is the book of Matthew Yahoo 21 and 17. Matthew Yahoo 21, 17. Matthew 21, 17. Matthew Yahoo 21, 17. Matthew Yahoo 21, 17 It says, and leaving them, he went out of the city to Bethany and lodged there. In the morning, as he was returning to the city, he became hungry, right? Just like any other thing. Yahushua was here on earth, he was hungry, just like any other human being here. Right? It says, and seeing a fig tree by the wayside, right? He saw something on the wayside, like on the way, he like, because you're supposed to have fruits along the way. They don't cut all the trees down now. He went to it and found nothing on it but leaves. He's like, man, that's all I seen. He was looking on the tree. He was searching the tree. He was like, man, that's a fig tree. It got to be a fig on there somewhere. I'm hungry. Right? How come he ain't go get him a nice meat cleaver and go grab him a nice big lamb chop and cut the neck off and then slice his throat and eat it? Because Yahushua ain't going to eat that. He just read it in the book of Ezra and ate. He just said he made it in his image and likeness. He said that's Yahuwah's image. And he says, and he said to it, may no fruit ever come from you again. Why? Because he was mad. He said, be not wroth with your people. You know what Ezra said? Don't be mad with your people. He's like, man, I'm hot. And he says, and the fig tree withered at once. When does the fig tree wither? Because there ain't no water. And then the sun comes. What do you think Yahushua right here? That's the sun. That's the sun right there. He's like, there's no more figs grow on this tree no more. And guess what the sun do guess what the sun does in the summertime? It shine a light right on it. And guess what? It'll wither that tree away like it ain't even there anymore. And the fig tree withered at once. And when his disciples saw it, they marveled. He's like, man, it withered just as one. I mean, Yahuwah's fire hot wrath inside of his son, Yahushua Mashiach, was just burning up. He was hot. He was so mad. And guess what he said? And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how did the fig tree wither at once? How did it happen so fast? This is in the summertime. He said, who can hide from the heat? It leaves the bride, leaves the chamber like a bridegroom leaving the chamber. In the book of Psalm 19. The sun, and Yahushua answered them, truly I say to you, if you have a munah and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, to what? He said, you're going to do the same thing. Because you in his image and likeness, and you don't like when there ain't no fruit on no trees. He said, you will not only do this to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be thou taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. He's like, man, you'll throw a whole mountain into the sea. You'll pick up a whole mountain and then throw it into the ocean. Throw it into the sea, the yam. Matter of fact, you can make a fig tree with it. It says, and whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have a munah. He's like, man, why would you do that to the fig tree? Because he was mad. He was upset. Because I was expecting to see kindness of how joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, and munah, the fruits of the ruach, and the only thing I see is everything I don't want to see. He's like, I'm upset. And people saying, Yahushua ain't, he was just kind and loving. You see what he just did to that fig tree? He said, that's going to be you when he come back here. He was like, he was just kind and loving. I said, you see what he just did to that fig tree with his powers? He said, that's going to be you when he come back here if it ain't perfect. Right, so this is the book of Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah. This is the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 24 and 1. Yirmiyahu 24 and 1. Yirmiyahu 24 and 1. Yirmiyahu 24 and 1. And after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Malach of Babylon, had taken into exile from Jerusalem Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda, together with the officials of Yehuda, the craftsmen and the metal workers, and had brought them to Babylon, Yahuwah showed me this vision. Behold, 2 baskets of figs placed before the temple of Yahuwah. All right, he said 2 baskets of figs. He said, what's the basket in the alphabet? The ninth letter of the alphabet, the T. It means male and female. It means mud, clay. It means basket. He said, I saw a basket of summer fruit. Amazing, you look at the 9th letter of the alphabet, and then people say, what do you say, male and female? That's Adam. When you add up Adam, it's 45. Equals to 9. He said, you made in my image and likeness. And get what it says. He said, get what he said. And Yahuwah showed me in the vision, behold, 2 baskets of figs placed before the temple of Yahuwah. 2 baskets. So he said both male and female. That's for both of them. Because Kawua is supposed to help in the gun. Here you go, Kawua. Here go your basket. Here go my basket. And guess what happens? One basket was very good figs. He said one basket had a lot of good figs in it. There was a whole bunch of good figs in there. Like first ripe figs. Because, we just talked about the first fruit offering and how all of it had to be kudash. And the priest supposed to actually offer it. It's supposed to have salt too. And get what it says. It said one had very good figs, like first ripe figs, but the other basket had very bad figs. It was terrible. You ever have unripe fruit? You cut a watermelon open, and you see a big old black spot in the middle of it. It smells really bad. It stinks. As soon as you cut open, all the gas comes out. You're like, okay. So bad that they could not be eaten. He was like, man, we can't eat that. He's like, I can't eat that. No. It's so bad, I had to throw that whole thing away. How much you paid for it? A whole bunch of money. And Yahuwah said to me, what do you see, Yirmiyahu? I say figs. The good figs very good, and the bad figs very bad. So bad that it cannot be eaten. So terrible. Right, so Yirmiyahu 24, Jeremiah 24, and that word for bad, in Yirmiyahu 24, that word for bad, where are we going at? Yirmiyahu 24, the word for bad is ra. Ra or ra'a. It means evil, wickedness, wicked, mischief, hurt. Right? Adverse, he say noisome, sore, sores, affliction, ill. Right? All these are a part of what? Impure fruit. Impure fruit that's within oneself. He's like, so you want me to, I cut that fig open and this is what I find. He said, there was some good ones too. Good figs, and he had some evil figs. Right? Because that word bad is linen. So the only reason I do that. But that is raw. And it says, and I said the figs, good, very good, and the bad, very bad. Or very raw. So raw that it cannot be eaten. He's so raw it cannot be eaten. Then the word of Yahuwah came to me. Thus says Yahuwah, the Elohim Yashral. Like these good figs, so will I regard as the good, the exiles from Yehuda. So you look at all the good people right now who are in exile of Yehuda, who are good fruit that Yahuwah loves. He's like, so I will be to the good fruit who are in exile. The ones who are cast out. But guess what he says? Whom I have sent away from this place to the land of the Chaldeans. Like, I done sent you out of the land of Jerusalem and you got good fruit. He's like, Yahuwah looking at you. And I will set my eyes on them for good. He's like, you got good fruit. Yahuwah going to set on you, his eyes on you for good. Because you remember how Yahushua was looking for that fruit? He was like, man, where that fruit at? He's like, man, this tree ain't got no fruit on it. Man, no more fruit growing here. And I will bring them back to this land. He's like, I'm going to bring you back because you good fruit. Why would I got a basket of summer fruit. I got a basket of fruit, and I'm coming to get that fruit. And guess what? I'm putting it in my basket, my teeth. Because I'm in the image and likeness of Yahuwah. I eat the fruits of the earth. Remember, what did Yahuwah eat? Why he come and get fruit? Why he come and get no meat locker? Why he come and get no lamb? Man, come and get some fruit to bring it back to his land. Guess what he gonna do with the fruit after he get it? He gonna get the fruit, he gonna eat it, he gonna take the seeds and replant it. Because what comes from a good fruit? Good seed. And then you plant the good seed in your land, and then guess what? You get more seed. So why would Yahuwah come and get some other fruit when he made Adam in his own image and likeness and said, of every fruit, every tree that bearing fruit yielding seed, you're going to have for food and for the animals. So why would he come get an animal to come eat it, cut it open, and bring it back to Jerusalem? He's not coming for that. He's coming to get fruit. And to the land of the Chaldees, he said, you be the bloody city, as we spoke about last week, your old bloody city, Jerusalem. It says, and I will set my eyes on them for good, and I will bring them back to the land, and I will bring them up and not tear them down. He said, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to nurture these plants once I replant these seeds. I'm going to bring them up. Ooh, but I ain't finna destroy my plants. I'm not going to be upset with this garden because I know this good seed when I sow in the ground. He said, I will build them up and not tear them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. He said, I know, man, it's some good fruit. I already know if I plant them there, if I plant such and such there, if I plant such and such there, if I plant such and such there, I know he gonna do what's right. I know she gonna do what's right. I know that child gonna do what's right. I know that man and that woman, that mother gonna do what's right. I know they're gonna do what's right. So if I plant them there, they're gonna grow up, and then I ain't gonna nurture them, and I'm not gonna destroy them. But if I bring that bad seed there, I already know it's gonna be just total chaos. I can't bring them. It says, and I will build them up and not tear them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. And I will give them a heart, to know that I am Yahuwah. He said, so how you know? I'm trying to let y'all know that I am Yahuwah. That's the only reason I'm doing all this. Why? Because he considers you good fruit. That's the only reason he's doing it. And they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. For they shall return to me with their whole heart. With their whole heart. With their whole heart. Because you know, when you read a whole fruit, you have one part nasty and the other part not good. He said, no, I want the whole fruit good. I want the whole fruit good. So when I cut it open, I want to be able to eat the whole thing and plant all the seed in there. I want a whole watermelon that's good. I want a whole cantaloupe that's good. I want a whole mango. I don't want no whole half a mango. I want a whole pomegranate. I want a whole apple. It says, but thus says Yahuwah, like the bad figs, he said. So now here I'm talking to the bad figs. That are so bad that it cannot be eaten. Man, you so, whew. Boy, it's some figs out here, you can't even eat it. He's like, man, you can't eat that. He said, you know what's in there? Man, I only got like half a portion of that thing. One fourth of an ephah in that thing that you can even actually eat. And get what he said, it cannot be eaten. So I will treat, get what he says, figs that cannot be eaten. So I will treat Zedekiah, the king of Yehuda, and his officials, all his officials, because he comparing your fruit to people. The leader, Zedekiah, and his officials, all his underneath people. The remnant of Jerusalem who remain in this land, and those who dwell in the land of Mizraim, he's talking about all over the place. He ain't just saying Mizraim, he's saying that in this other land too. I will make them a horror. He said, man, y'all are a horror. Look at the people today. To all kingdoms of the earth, man, the kingdom's like, man, we ain't want y'all here anymore. Look what y'all doing. Y'all beating each other up, fighting everybody, destroying the property, destroying the store, scratching each other, shooting people in the street, fighting each other, shooting people, opening up scripture, shooting people, running people down, throwing people in the street. He's like, man, look at y'all crazy. Masturbating on people in dollar stores, shooting people at gas stations, AK-47, AR-15. He's like, who are like, man, y'all a horror to the kingdoms. Man, even the king of Ekron don't want you in their kingdom. Shoot, the king of Babylon, they don't even want you there. They like, man, and the Nephilim don't even want you. That's it. Y'all got more wickeder than Nephilim. Nephilim like, I don't even want you in my city no more. That's how bad y'all got. Y'all even worse than us when we was during the flood. And it says, to be a reproach and a borrower and a taunt and a curse in all the places where I drive them. You're a curse to the land. Man, you can't even be in a neighborhood. They already know, man. They finna destroy the whole. There goes the neighborhood. They even make that whole motto up for you. There goes the neighborhood. There goes the community. There goes this nice little place that we used to live. We used to have. It used to be a great place to live. Now, there goes the neighborhood. Man, you are a curse and a whore everywhere you go. He say uncultured minded, uncivilized, no laws, no Torah, no nothing, no heart or mind to obey the Torah, no heart and mind to walk civilized. He's like, look at y'all. And he says, and I will send a sword and a famine and pestilence upon you. And people are like, oh, so if he send a sword, famine, and pestilence on you, that means you're going to die, that means you ain't going to bear no fruit, and that means you ain't going to have nothing. That means you ain't going to have no offering, no just ephah, no nothing. And you ain't going to have nothing to offer up the sacrifice of praise continually. And you're going to be a proverb and a bar. You're going to be a taunt to everybody. Because you don't believe it. You're talking to Yehuda. You're talking to Jerusalem. Yeah, those 12 tribes. You know, those people that dwelt there. The real Jews, how they say. He's talking about y'all. He's like, you're a whore. Look at you. Look what y'all do to people. Look what you do to yourself. And you got all the Torah that you say, Yahuwah, all the names. You got all the different things, and you do more, even worse than the people, and you become a whore to them. They don't even want to see you. And guess what it says? A famine and pestilence until they shall be utterly destroyed. What did Yahushua do to the fig tree? He said, man, I ain't seen no fruit on this tree. And Yahushua said, no more figs grow on this tree from this time and forevermore. He's like, how you burn the tree down that fast? He said, that's what I'm going to do to y'all. Both male and female. And guess what it says? And it be utterly destroyed from the land that I gave it to their fathers. He said, that's what I'm going to do. This Deuteronomy, Devarim 5:29. Deuteronomy 5:29. Deuteronomy 5:28. Deuteronomy 5:28. And Yahuwah heard your words when you spoke to me. And Yahuwah said to me, I heard the words of this people, which they have spoken to you. He said, I done heard it. You get what he said? They are right in all that they have spoken. He said, man, they are right. And guess what he said? Oh, that they had such a heart as this always, to fear me and keep all my commandments. Let us offer up a sacrifice of praise continually, which is the fruit of our lips, as a sweet smelling savor to Yahuwah. Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he sent his son Yahushua? So you can keep his commandments always, a heart. So you won't be in the state that you're in. You can complain. One can complain all they want about their state and who they are and how they are and what they are and who he is and what he was and how we are taught in the Bible and the proverb and the byword. The only reason you're in that state is because you bad fruit. Even though you got all the truth, you still bad fruit. Because you only have fruit. He said your whole heart. That's why he said wholeheartedly. A whole, not a half. That's why he said Adam, both male and female, they got to be whole, a whole fruit, not half fruit. Ain't no 50-50. It's a whole thing. You got to be a cod. Whole. He said the two sticks becoming one. It got to be a whole, not half. And it says, they were right. It says, oh, that they had such a heart, verse 29, to as this always, to fear me and to keep all my commandments, that it might go well with them and with their descendants forever. Go and say to them, return to your tents. He's like, they done left their tents, because you know what he was doing? He got them out of their tents. And then now he telling them to return to their tents. Because before they weren't keeping no commandments. They weren't doing anything Yahuwah told them to do. And guess what he said? Now you can go back to your tent, being that you said you're going to do that. Because you know what he did? He was preparing a tent for the son. That's why they weren't in their tent. He had to get them out of their tent in order to put the son there. And then once they said they're going to do it, because he just sowed the seed in their heart, we're going to do everything you said, which means all the seed that he said he sowed, and all the things that's supposed to take root as the farmer does sow, he said, now you can go back to your tent because the son in there. The son in your tent now. So now you can bear fruit. But get what he said, return to your tents, but you stand here by me, and I will tell you the whole commandment, that the statutes and the rules that you shall teach them, that they may do them in the land that I am giving them to possess. You got to dominate. He said, I'm giving you a body to possess. In your patience, possessing your soul. And guess what? You got to be able to do these statutes in your land. And you have to dominate it. You have to rule it. And you have to do the work. You shall be careful, therefore, to do as Yahuwah, your Elohim, has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right hand or the left. What did Yahushua do in between the two thieves? He heard one thief talking about Lumeria and Paradise. He had another thief over here cursing him out. He said, forever Yahuwah, your word is settled in Shamayim. He said, don't turn to the right or the left, because you've been crucified with Mashiach. Like they say, crucified with him. And get what he said. And you shall walk in all the way that Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you, that you may live, that you may bear fruit. Because if you don't, how you gonna live? If Yahuwah burn up your fig tree gonna die. Your fruit gonna die, because you ain't got nothing on it, just leaves. That it may go well with you, and that you may live long in the land that you shall possess. He said, I want to live like Adam. I want to live like Noah. Why do you think they live that long? People saying, why do you think that all these people live that long? That's the whole point of doing what Yahuwah said, so you can live long. He said, you want to die early? He's like, no, man. Living is something that people need to do. I want to live long, so therefore, just do what I said. Just do what I said. Right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 4. 2nd Ezra chapter 4. 2nd Ezra chapter 4. Second Ezra chapter 4. 2nd Ezra chapter 4. Yeah, so 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verse, this is verse 44. Then answered I and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, and if it be possible, and if it be meet therein, show me then whether there be more to come than is past, or more past than is to come. And what is past I know, but what is for to come I know not. And he said unto me, stand upon your feet, stand upon your right side, and I shall expound the similitude unto thee. So I stood and saw, and behold, an hot burning oven passed before me. And it happened that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. He's like, when I saw the oven go out, the oven went by and everything went by, he said, the smoke stands still. It stood still. What did Mashah say to the people when Pharaoh was pursuing him? He said, man, stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. He said, you brought us out here to die? He said, you brought us out here to die, didn't you? You did bring us out here to die. He said, no, just stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. The only thing you got to do is remain solid. He said, tell the people of Yasharal to go forward. And get what he said? And the smoke, behold, the smoke remains still. Because, you know, when he told Yahusha, when his son, he prayed, he said, son, stand still in Joshua 9, chapter 10. He said, son, stand still. Moon, stand still. He said, y'all saw the smoke remains still. And after this, there passed by before me a watery cloud. Uh-oh. He said, a watery cloud. And what happened? And sent down much rain with the storm. It sent out a lot of rain with the storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. They ain't moved. He said, why the drops stood still? You ever seen a drop of rain hit the ground? He said the drops, they just stood still. They ain't even going to the ground. Because you know what's going to happen if the rain don't go into the ground? Ain't nothing going to come up. The seed's not going to come up. He said the rain stood still. Stand still to see the salvation of Yahuwah. He said the rain stood still. The smoke stood still. Everything stood still. Time stood still. And guess what happened? Then said he unto me, consider with thyself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke. Smoke standing still, the drops standing still, but the drops and the smoke remain behind. Because the drops and the smoke still have not dissipated yet. They still, it's a residue, still there. They still remain behind. So the quantity which is passed did not exceed. Did more exceed, right? Why? Because the things that are still remaining, the little remnant of smoke that's standing still, and the little remnant of drops that are standing still, is just the remnant of the actual downpour and the real fire. He said, so what are you? You that little drop. You that little smoke. What is that? You know, when you burn something for a sweet smelling savor, what happens? You did a little smoke. And what does that smoke do? You take a shower, you wash your body, you see some drops still on your body. But the downpour was actually the actual water. But you still see a remnant of it, and it stands still. But guess what it says? Then I prayed and said, may I live? Thinkest thou unto that time? Or what shall happen to those days? He answered me and said, as for the tokens whereof thou askest me, I tell thee of them in part. But as to touching thy life, I am not sent to show thee, for I do not know it. He's like, hold up. He's like, I don't know it. What are you talking about? I don't know. What is this all about? Right? So this is the book of this is the book of so this is the book of Isaiah. Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu 37 and Isaiah 37, Yeshayahu 37:28. 37:28. I know you're sitting down, and you're going out, and you're coming in, and you're raging against me, because you have raged against me and your complacency has come to my ears, I will put my hook in your nose and my bit in your mouth, and I will turn you back on the way which you came. And get what he says, and this shall be the sign for you. This year you shall eat what grows of itself, and in the second year what springs from that. Then in the third year sow and reap, and plant vineyards, and eat their fruit. And the surviving remnant of the house of Yehudah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. I say the little remnant, the little smoke that's left after the fire, that's standing still, that little bit of rain that's on the ground that's still there after the residue of the downpour. He said, and the surviving remnant of the house of Yehudah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. From out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant. A remnant. And out of Mount Sion a band of survivors. He said, that smoke. He said, you see that thing that's left over? After the fire came, after the downpour came, he said, there's a little bit of smoke left. There's a little bit of downpour left. I'm not going to utterly destroy everything. It's still some left. And out of Mount Sion a band of survivors. The zeal of Yahuwah will do this. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, or shoot an arrow there, or come before it with a shield, or cast up a siege mounted against it, by the way that he came. But the same he shall return. And he shall not come into this city, declares Yahuwah. For I will defend this city to save it. He said, why are you going to save it? For my own sake, and for my own sake, for the sake of my servant David. Why? Why he gonna say? What did Jeremiah say? He said, you see these good fruit, these good figs? He said, I like them. I'm gonna take those people, I'm gonna take them seeds, I'm gonna take that fruit, I'm gonna sow them, and they're gonna yield me a good increase. But that bad fruit, I'm gonna make famine come on that place. I'm gonna make pestilence come on that place. They're gonna be a borrower to power. I don't like that bad fruit. Right, so this is the book of, same thing. It's the same thing, going to the book of, right, so this is the book of Yirmiyahu. Yirmiyahu chapter 40, verse 10. Yirmiyahu 40 and 10. It says, as for me, I will dwell at Mizpah to represent you before the Chaldees, who come to us. But as for you, get what he said, but as for you, gather wine and the summer fruits and oil, and store them in your vessels, and dwell in your cities that you have taken likewise. And when all the Judeans who were in Moab, and among the Ammonites, and the Edom, and the other lands, heard the king of Babylon had left a remnant in Yehudah, and had appointed Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan as a governor over them, then all the Judeans returned all the places to which they had been driven, and came to the land of Yehudah, to Gedaliah and Mizpah, and they gathered wine and summer fruits in great abundance. Now Yohanan the son of Kerah and all the leaders of the forces in the open country came to Gedaliah at Mizpah and said to him, do you know that Baalis, the king of the Ammonites, has sent Yishmael, the son of Nethaniah, to take your life? But Gedaliah said, Gedaliah, the son of Anikam, would not believe him. Then Yohanan, the son of Kerah, spoke secretly to Gedaliah at Mizpah, please let me go and strike down Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, and he says, and no one will know it. He said, let me go do it. Ain't nobody gonna know about it. Because he left a remnant in Babylon, right? The king of Babylon left a remnant of Yehuda there. He says, why should he take your life? Let me do it. He says, no one will know. Nobody ain't gonna know if we do it. Why should he take your life? He's trying to kill you. Let me kill him secretly. Ain't nobody gonna know about it. Matter of fact, ain't nobody gonna know about this murder I'm getting ready to do. It says, so that all the Judeans who gathered about you would be scattered. So he said, once he kill you, everybody gonna be scattered. He said, nobody gonna know about this. He said, why should he kill you? He said, let me go kill him. And it says, and the remnant of Yehuda would perish. But Galiah, the son of Ahikam, said to Yohanan, the son of Qahalath, you shall not do this thing, for you are speaking falsely of Ishmael. He's like, hold up, don't do this thing. He's like, don't do this thing. Right, so this is the book of Matthew. Actually, the book of Mark, chapter 15. Actually, Mark chapter Mark 14 and 43. Mark 14, 43. Mark 14, 43. And immediately while he was still speaking, Judas came, one of the 12, and with him a crowd of swords and clubs, and the chief priests and the scribes and elders. Now the betrayer had given him a sign, saying, the one I kiss is the man. Seize him and lead him away under guard. And when he came, he went at once, and he said, Rabboni, and he kissed him, and they laid hands on him. But the one who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of Hakan's ear. And Yahusha said, have you come out against a robber with the sword and club to capture me? Day after day I was in your temple teaching, and you did not seize me. But let the scripture be fulfilled. And they all left him and fled. Why do you think he told the king? We just read in the book of Jeremiah. He said, man, he coming to kill you. He said, man, let me kill him. Why should he come kill you and everybody be scattered? And he said, man, you shall do no such thing. For you speaking things against Ishmael. He said, why would you do that? He said, why would you do that? You shall do no such thing. I got to fulfill the scripture. Why do you think he did it right here? He said, you shall do no such thing. Why do you think he took out the sword? He's like, let me kill him. Let me cut his head off. He's like, you shall do no such thing. Right? Yuchanan 18. Yuchanan 18. Yuchanan 18:19. And the Hakan questioned Yahusha about his disciples and his teaching. Yahusha answered him, I have spoken openly to the world, and I have also always taught in your synagogue, your congregation, your assembly, and in the temple where all Yahudim gathered. I have said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who heard. Ask those who have heard me and what I said to them. They know what I said. When he had said these things, one of the officers standing by struck Yahusha with his hand, and he struck him in the face, saying, "Is this how you answer the high priest? This is how you gonna answer the high priest?" Yahusha answered him, "If what I said is wrong, bear witness about the wrong." Because guess what? Everything Yahusha said is right. Because it's like the book of Proverbs chapter 8 say, all the words of my mouth are righteous. There ain't nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. So who's in the wrong here? The dude who smacked him in the face, the officer. And get what he said? Is that how you answer the high Kahan? And Yahusha answered him, "If what I said is wrong, bear witness about the wrong. But what if I say it's right? Why do you strike me?" He says, Anas then sent him bound to Caiaphas the high Khan. Now Caiaphas was standing and warming himself. So they said to him, "You are one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." He's like, I ain't one of him. Right? He said, "I ain't one of him," right? But he said, everything I do is right. But here we go, we almost finished. And it says right here, going to, it's the book of Luke. Luke 23:1. Luke 23:1. Luke 22, actually, Luke 22. Luke 22. Luke 22. This last thing, Luke 22:47. Last couple things. Luke 22:47. And while he was still speaking, there came a crowd, and a man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Yahusha to kiss him, but Yahusha said to him, "Judas, will you betray the son of Adam with a kiss? Son of Yahuwah, son of Adam with a kiss?" And when those who were around him saw what followed, they said, "Yahuwah, shall we strike with the sword?" He's like, "Yahuwah, shall we kill Yahusha? Master, shall we kill these people?" Because that's what he just asked. That's what they asked him. Shall we kill Judas and the people that just came to us? That's what they just said. He said, "Let us kill him, because he coming to kill you." Just like he told the king in the book of Jeremiah. He said, "No, do no such thing. You speak against Ishmael." Get what he said. He says, "Yahuwah, will we strike with the sword?" It says, and one of them struck the servant in the Hakan and cut off his ear. He's like, "Man, they did all I wanted. I'm going to kill these people." They started fighting. But Yahusha said, "No more of this." And he touched his ear and healed him. Then Yahusha said to the chief Kahan and the officers in the temple, the elders who had come out against him, You brought the fight to me. So I'm going to defend myself." And get what he said. "Have you come out against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this is your hour, and in the power of darkness." Because that's what happens when you're walking in darkness. What fellowship have light with darkness? You see what happens when light and darkness come. Shall we kill these people? It's gonna be a straight out fight. It's gonna be a fight with light and darkness there. That's why he said that, because your offering got to be perfect. Why do you think Yahushua said no more of this? Because his offering had to be perfect. Why do you think he was healing people? Because his offering had to be perfect. Why he went on forwardly? Because his offering had to be perfect. Had he let them fight and just do all that, then his offering wouldn't have been perfect. It wouldn't have been perfect. That's the whole point. Right, so this is going back to Yirmiyahu real quick. This is Yirmiyahu. Jeremiah, it's 45. Yeah. Go back to Yirmiyahu chapter. Yirmiyahu chapter 40 and Yirmiyahu 40 and 13. Reading this again, but it says, and Yohanan, the son of Kirah, and all leaders of the forces in the open country came to Gilead and Mizpah and said to him, do you know that Baalis and the king of the Ammonites has sent Ishmael the son of Nethaniah to take your life? But Gilead the son of Ahinakam would not believe him. You know, send Judas to take your life. Then Yohanan the son of Kirah spoke secretly to Gilead and Mizpah, please let me go and strike down the Ishmael the son of Nethaniah. Let me strike down Judas. Shall we kill him? Shall we strike with the sword? And no one will know it. He's like, nobody gonna know about it. Yahushua like, I can't let y'all do this. Says, why should he take your life so that all the Judeans who are gathered about you would be scattered? He said, the scripture got to be fulfilled. Smite the shepherd and the sheep gonna scatter. Strike the king and the remnant of Yehuda would be scattered. It says, and the remnant of Yehuda would perish. But Gilead, son of Ahinakam, said to Yohanan, the son of Kirah, you shall not do this thing, for you are speaking falsely of Ishmael. He said, man, you're speaking falsely, because you don't even know why Judas is doing this. Yehuda is doing this. The only reason he's doing it is because Satan on the inside of him. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. I come to save people, not destroy people. I come to heal people. That's why he was doing it. Right? So this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. And 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse, right, here we go. This verse, started verse equal to, let's go to verse 20. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 20. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 20. And when the world, it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then I will show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament. Before what? The firmament. He said the books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. He said the books can be opened before the firmament. What do you mean the firmament? The Rakia, the cosmos, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. Orion, Oranos, the Mahadana. They're going to be open toward the sun, moon, and stars, the Kukabim, the constellations. The constellations are moving in a circle in a procession. They're going to be shown to the firmament, the cosmos, from Saturn all the way to Uranus, even to Earth. He said the book's going to be open to the firmament, and they shall see all together. He's like, they're going to see all together too. And guess what it says? And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices, because all the vibrations and everything on chain on the earth. They say higher consciousness. And it says, and the women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 and 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. He's like, man, because why? Because now things starting to come a little faster. The fruit of the womb starting to come up. And guess what happens? And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. He said, all the food that people stored away and everything will be empty. Why? Because man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah, even the firmament. And get what happens? And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. He said, if there was such a heart in them, they would fear me always and keep all my commandments. If it was such a heart. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Why do you think Yahushua say, no, y'all not gonna do this. No, you shall do no such thing. He's like, you talking about Ishmael. He's like, nah, you shall do no such thing. He's trying to kill you. He said, you should do no such thing. And get what it says. And suddenly, and he says, and that the trumpet shall be sound, and he says, which every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time shall friends fight one another against thine enemies. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. Why? Because you know why? He said, trumpet Turah sound. He said he's gonna take peace from the earth. He said, why? You got a black horse, a pale horse, and a red horse. He said, man, they getting power they're taking away things from the earth. And guess what it says? And it says, dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand. So what? Shall stand still. He said, stand still to see the salvation of Yahuwah. Why the drop standing still, the smoke standing still? He said, because Yahushua standing still. Why do you think he was nailed in his hand? He said, the fountains shall stand still. How many? And in 3 hours they shall not run. Why do you think it was darkness on the land of the 6th and the 9th hour? That's 3 hours. Why do you think he was nailed in his hand for the 6th and the 9th hour? Matthew 27. Because the fountains were standing still. For 3 hours they shall not run. They didn't even run. What happened after the 9th hour? When did the fountain start running again? Whoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape. Oh, so are you a remnant after all? Once the fountain stopped? Because what happened with Ezra when the water stopped, the pour down stopped falling down? It was little drops that stood still. After the fire left, the smoke stood still. And who was the last? He said, if you left after the fountain stopped, if you got little remnant drops of water, and you understand this, and guess what happens? Whoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape. Escape what? And see my salvation. He said, can you see his salvation? You will see my salvation. If you remaineth, he said, you see it. He said, you will see my salvation. It says, in the end of your world. He said, you will see my salvation. He said, when did the fountain start to run again? After those 3 hours. When they saw that Yahushua was dead already, they pierced him in the side. Out came blood and water. It says, and guess what it says? And the men that are received shall see it. Huh? If you receive these things, you shall escape the incursions of demons. And guess what it says? It says, and the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. I'm going to change your heart. If there was such a heart. He said, I'm going to change your heart. He said, I'm going to change your heart into a whole nother meaning. He's like, what do you mean? This is a whole nother thing. It says, for evil shall be put out. Evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. What happened when the fire was quenched? There was a little smoke. You see that smoke that stood still? You see them drops of rain that stood still? You see Yahushua standing on the cross that was stood still with the nails in his hand? Mashah said, stand still to see the salvation of Yahuwah. Joshua said, stand still, sun and moon. And David said, forever, O Yahuwah, your word is settled in Shamarim. He said, it's settled, it's fixed. And guess what happened? We're almost finished. And it says right here, it says, be quenched. It says, as for Amunah, faith, it shall flourish. Amunah come by hearing. You hear about the word of Yahushua Mashiach. It says, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and truth, which have been so long without fruit, truth shall be, and you get what it says, shall be declared. And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood. And these words said he unto me, I am come to show thee the time of the night to come. And if thou wilt pray yet one more, and fast 7 more days again, I shall then tell thee greater things by day that I have heard. You say 7 days. You say, what do you mean? He said 7 days. Right, so this is so this is the same book, skipping down to verse 41. Skipping down to verse 40. This is the last 2 things that we're done. He says, last two parts in this done. It said, then commanded thou a fair light to come forth of thy treasures, that thy work might appear. What happens in the summertime? The sun comes and then things start to spring up. And guess what it says? Upon the 2nd day, thou madest the spirit of the firmament, and commandest it to part asunder. Right? And guess what? And to make a division betwixt the waters, that one part might go up and the other remain beneath. Right? The 2nd day of creation. It says, and upon the 3rd day, thou didst command the waters should be gathered in the 7th part of the earth. 6th part hast thou dried up and kept them. And the intent of these, some being planted of Yahuwah, tilled might serve thee. For as soon as thy word went forth, the work was made. For immediately there was a great innumerable fruit, and many diverse pleasures for the taste, and flowers of unchangeable color, and the odor of wonderful smell. And it says, and this was done the 3rd day. And upon the 4th day, thou commandest that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order. And guess what happens? And gavest them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. All right, so you look at this at the 4th month. You say, why? So why the sun be out like this on the 4th month? It's for a reason. So why the sun be like this in the 4th month? It's for a reason. So this book of Yeshayahu chapter 11. Yeshayahu chapter 11. Yeshayahu chapter 11. Yeshayahu chapter 11. Verse 11. It says, in that day, Yahuwah will extend his hand a second time to recover the remnant that remains of his people. How you said the remnant? You know, the little drops of water that was standing still, the smoke that was standing still. He said, man, they're going to spring forth. He said, they're going to see the salvation. He said, I'm going to open the books up to the firmament. And it says, in remnant that remain of his people. Because he said, I'm going to multiply your seed as the stars of Shamayim. I'm gathering them in like the firmament, the sun, the moon, and the stars. I'm opening it up to the firmament. The Shemesh Kugim in the yard. Shall I, your mother, and your brothers bow down and worship you? Remember those people from Assyria, from Mizraim, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the coastlands of the sea. And he will raise a signal for the nations, and assemble the banners of Yasharal, and gather the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. And it says, the jealousy of Ephraim shall depart, and those who harass Yehudah shall be cut off. I'm going to cut you off. And Ephraim shall not be jealous of Yehudah, and Yehudah shall not harass Ephraim. You say, friend ain't going to fight no more. But they shall swoop down on the shoulder of the Philistines from the west together to plunder the people of the east. Right? Verse 15, and Yahuwah will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Mizraim, and he will wave his hand over the river. He said, man, he's going to wave his hand over the river. His right hand, what he going to do? And with a scorching breath, he will strike it into 7 channels. He said, man, I'm going to make you 7 pillars in the city of refuge. I'm going to strike it into 7 channels. Man, who holds the 7 stars in his right hand? Who the 7 stars? Who the 7 stars? Yahushua Mashiach. He said, I hold him in my right hand. He said, son, sit at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. He's like, sit here at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. I'm gonna make all of you. I'm gonna make them bow down to your feet. He said, who is this in my right hand? He said, sit up, son of my. He said, sit up here at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. He said, you see this hand right here? It's my hand. Yahuwah's like, that's my hand. He said, I'm gonna strike it into 7 channels. He said, how you know it's his hand? It says, remnant of, he says it right here, and he says, I'll strike into 7 channels, and he will lead people across in sandals. That's how you know. Who is that? He's like, because that's my son. That's the son who sits in my right hand. He said, I'm gonna lead them out in 7 channels. And guess what happens? And will lead my people across in sandals, and there will be a highway for Assyria, for the remnant that remains of his people. And there was as there was for Yasharal when they came out of Mizraim. This is Yeshayahu 35 and 7. Yeshayahu 35 and 7. It says, the burning sand shall become a pool. You know when hot, you ever sit on some beach sand? Some sand, it's hot, and the sun out real hot. But in order for it to become a pool, you got to sit in the rain. And get what it says, in the thirsty ground, springs of water. And the haunt of jackals, where they lie, the grass shall become reeds and rushes. He said, man, this thing going to start springing up vegetation. You know why? And a highway shall be there, and it should be called the way of Kudash. Because he said, your offering will be perfect. Tamim. Others offer the sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of our lips, continually. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in Shamayim is perfect. It's going to be the way of Kudash. The unclean shall not pass over it. He's like, man, unclean things ain't going to happen. He's like, he's going to bring an unclean offering. The one who leading this, how you say, this people out the second time is Kudash. And he's saying, it got to be perfect. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in Shamayim is perfect. And get what it says. The way of Qahalath, the unclean shall not pass over it. It shall belong to those who walk on the way. Speak these words while you sit in the house, walk by the way, you lie down, you rise up. And get what it says. Even if they are fools, they shall not go astray. He said, even if you, he said, ain't no way in the world. Even if you, he said, you don't know nothing. He said, ain't no way you're going to fall away from this. He said, you ain't going to go astray. No lion shall be there, nor shall any ravenous beast come on it. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of Yahuwah shall return, and come to Sion with singing. Let us offer up the sacrifice of praise to Yahuwah with the fruit of our lips, because this is the way of Qahalath. They got to be a perfect offering. Let us offer up the sacrifice of praise with the fruit of our lips. Let's cleanse ourselves from all filth in the flesh and ruach. Let's be kind to the grateful and the ungrateful, because Yahuwah allowed the sun to shine and the rain to fall on the grateful and the ungrateful. He said, love your enemies and pray for them. He said, why would you do that? Be therefore perfect, even as I am. That's the only way you're going to be. Why would the firmament listen to you? Why would the people of the cosmos listen to you? If you ain't doing nothing that excels what they do. And come to Sion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their head, and they shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing and flee. Sighing shall flee away. Because darkness, what fellowship has darkness with light? Because light gonna leave. Sighing and sorrow are gonna flee away. He said, once you cleanse yourself from all filth in the flesh and ruach. Once you cleanse your inward man, your outward man. He said, all that stuff gonna go away. He said, why? So why are people like in the certain state? He's like, because they ain't clean themselves from filth in the flesh and ruach. That's the whole point. Right, so this is 2nd Ezra. This is the last thing. It's the last thing. 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra. Second Ezra chapter 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 15. 2nd Ezra chapter 2. 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 15. Actually, verse 14. Actually, verse 13. It says, go, and ye shall receive, Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. You said watch under prayer. He said, man, a fool ain't gonna err. Even if you're a fool, you ain't gonna go straight from this. Take heaven and earth to witness, for I have broken the evil in pieces, and created the good, for I live, saith Yahuwah. He said, I broke the evil in pieces. What did Jeremiah say he gonna do with the fruit? He said, I'm gonna take them good fruit. I'm gonna plant that fruit. I'm gonna take that remnant. But that other bad fruit, I'm gonna destroy it. And get what he said. Verse 15, mother, embrace thy children. He said, man, we talked about the mother priesthood. He said, I'm going to take a mother from the earth. When Yahushua was taken, he said, Yahushua above is free. It's a mother of us all. He said, my son, do not forget the commandment, the teaching of your father, the commandment of your father and the teaching of your mother. He said, mother, embrace your children. He said, why would a mother not embrace her children? And bring them up with gladness. While we just talked about gladness and sighing and sorrow going to flee away when he gathered his remnant from the four corners of the earth. He said they're going to come to Sharon with singing. What happened when Sarah sung in the house with Abraham? He said the whole house was shalom. Why he said bring them up in gladness? And it says right here, make their feet as fast as a pillar. He's like, make their feet. And it says, for I have chosen thee, says Yahuwah, and those that be dead I will raise up again from their places, and bring them out of the graves, for I have known my name in Yasharal. He said, I know who my name is. He said, my name ain't even other. Yahuwah put his name on you. He said, you go in the grave. He's like, I already know my name, man. I'm going to raise them people up. If the same ruach that be in you was also in Mashiach Yahushua shall also quicken your mortal body. I know who I raised up, and I know who my people are. He says, fear not, thou mother of the children. Who are we talking about? Yahushua above is free, and he's the mother of us all. He took it from the earth. Why think Yahushua was descending up in the Shamayim, and he took him from the earth? He took him from the earth. He said, I saw Yahushua come down as a bride adorned for her husbands, because just like we read in Song of God, or Solomon Elohim, it said that they're going to treat the daughters of Eve with nothing, like little worth. And he said, I'm going to take it from the earth. Why do you think he took Yahushua and the mother priesthood from the earth? He put Jerusalem above, not the, because everything comes from above. Those who have no understanding think everything comes from, he said, nothing comes from the earth, everything comes from above. It says, fear not, thou mother of the children, for I have chosen thee, says Yahuwah. For thy help, says, for thy help will I send my servants, it says, Asu and Yirmiyahu. It says, after whose counsel I have sanctified and prepared for thee 12 trees, laden with diverse fruits. How you say? He said 12 what? 12 trees laden with diverse fruit. He said, because you know y'all, Jerusalem is, he say 12 gates. And he always used 12 gates, 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, 3 to the west. And he said, each having a tree, having diverse fruits on it. I wonder if they're bad fruit. Nah, they're going to be good fruit. They're going to have good fruit on them gates. Those 12 gates with the 12 tribes and the 12 shalakim. And the 12 foundations and the 12 pearls. Because Jerusalem above is free, and it's the mother of us all. He's free from sin. That Jerusalem above that people trying to go into, that Jerusalem above is free from sin. It ain't got no sin in it. Ain't no sin in that city that's coming from the higher Shamayim. So if you got sin, you ain't going in it. Be therefore perfect, even as your Father in Shamayim is perfect. Right? And it says right here, it says, children, for I have chosen thee. He says, I saw 12 trees, right? Verse 19. And as many fountains flowing with milk and honey. Get what it says? It says, and as many fountains flowing with milk and honey. He said, that's what's coming out of this place. He said, 12 trees, diverse fruits, and many fountains flowing with milk and honey. What an animal sacrifices at? What are eating animal flesh at? Where are all the things where you're going to destroy Yahuwah's creatures and eat it? All I see is milk and honey and fruits. And what else on that? What else on this mountain? What else on this mountain? And seven mighty mountains. I'm gonna take my hand and make it into 7 streams, and I'm gonna gather my people from the 4 corners of the earth. It says 7 mighty mountains, whereupon there grows roses and lilies. Where are all the things that are supposed to be there that people are supposed to destroy in Yahuwah's creation? He said, I saw roses and lilies. Can you ever imagine a mountain with roses and lilies on it? Qahalath lilies, because I like Qahalath lilies. And it says, whereby I will fill thy children with joy. Sorrow and sighing gonna flee away. They're gonna come to Jerusalem with singing. They're gonna be without sin. They're gonna be kudash. They're gonna have perfect offerings, just ephah, just balances, just bach. They're gonna have a season with salt. They're gonna have the pure ointment oil on their head. They ain't gonna have no sin. They ain't gonna have none of that. You're gonna bring that into Jerusalem. The new Jerusalem above is free. It's free from sin. And they ain't in the bondage of no man on earth. The only person they subject to is one of the highest Shaman. People on earth are wicked. And guess what it says right here? And it says, and many fountains flowing with honey and milk, and 7 mighty mountains, whereupon there grow roses and lilies, whereby I will fill thy children with joy. Do right to the widow, judge the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphans, clothe the naked. Because you done unto least of them, you done unto me. Because that's what's going to be in the city. Heal the broken and weak. Laugh no lame man to scorn. Because who made the halt, the blind, the lame, the ones who did that? Who made man's mouth to make it stutter? Who did that? Yahuwah did that. And amazingly, these were the same people Yahushua came to heal. I ain't come to destroy men's lives. What you laughing these people to scorn for? I came to heal them. Defend the maimed, and let the blind man come into the sight of my clearness. He said, what? Why do you think he opened the man blind eye? You come to teach us? Who opened your eye? Who opened the blind man eye? He like, you come to teach us? You all together born in sin. And they cast him out. Yeah, exactly. And amazingly, these are the same things he said in Psalm 82. He said, is it not written in your Torah, said you are Elohim? You are gods? And if I called you a God in whom the word of Yahuwah came, because he only came to one people in Psalms 147. He said, he showed his rules and judgments as Yasharal. He has not dealt so with any other people. I saw 12 trees with diverse fruits. And guess what he said? We almost finished. He says, bind man and come into the sight of his clearness. Keep the old and the young within thy walls. He said, what? He said, keep the old and the young in thy walls. Whoever thou findest the dead, take them and bury them, and I will give thee the first place. He would say, I want first place. You know how people cross the finish line for the Olympics? He said, I'll give you first place in my resurrection. You be in the first resurrection. Because that's what's going to be in the city. He said, people who do these things. People who do these things. Abide still, Abide still, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Abide still, O my people, and take thy rest, for thy quietness still come. Stand still. Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse. He say, nourish thy children, O thou good nurse. Establish thy feet, their feet. As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. Why? Because he said sorrow and sighing gonna flee away. They're gonna come to Sion with singing. They're gonna come with singing. And this is the last thing, and it says have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, says Yahuwah. My hand shall cover thee. What hand he gonna cover him? Who he holds with 7 stars in the right hand? He's gonna be a city of refuge. He's gonna be 7 pillars in the city of refuge. He said he holds 7 stars in the right hand. He said, my hand shall cover thee, so that the children shall not see hell. So thy children shall not see hell. Be joyful, thou mother, with thy children. For I will deliver thee, says Yahuwah. Remember thy children that sleep. He's talking about Yahushua. Because some people are already in the grave already. He said, remember those who are already asleep. Adam, Kor, David, Dawood, Shalom, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Methuselah, Noah, Shem, Shah, Deborah, Yael, Yehudi, Sarah, Hannah, the no-name wise woman, Shaul, Kaf, Bartholomew. He said, remember them while asleep. And some haven't even tasted death yet. He said, remember those who are asleep, for I shall bring them out of the sides of the earth. Man, he's going to bring them right back. And show mercy unto them, for I am merciful, says Yahuwah Allah Almighty. Embrace thy children until I come, and show mercy unto them. For my wells run over, and my Khan shall not fall. My grace shall not fall. Right, so we look at all this, we look at that, we look at the understanding of Yahushua Mashiach. He say, look at the true light, which light of every each, man and woman, male and female, that comes into eternal life, that leaves darkness and comes to this marvelous light. He said, for ignorance is a great evil. But he said, when once known, the ignorance perishes. But yet, as we look at ourselves and look at ourselves, where there's a little bit of adultery and a little bit of infidelity remains, so shall Satan have one control over one's body, if one doesn't purge out the old man and allow the new man to resurrect within oneself. So we're looking within ourselves, we look at our understanding, we look within our mind. Say, who can number the sand of the sea? Matter of fact, who can name all the kukabim in the yard? Who can measure out the earth and the depths? If you can't do that, if you can't stop the sun from shining, you can't cast out Yasharal from being a people. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. Right? So the remnant shall inherit the earth. And we look at the world today, we look at our understanding, we look at our inward man, we look at who we are as a people, we look at who we are as both male and female, as Shemash, Kukabim, and Yark, as sun, moon, and stars on the earth. One, he said, even as one lives, he said, shall your offering be perfect. He said, even as your father in Shamaim is perfect, for he made you. Shall you love those things that he created more than you love him? For I made you, for Yahuwah made us, and not we ourselves. For the meek shall inherit the earth. For the meek shall inherit the earth.